It's always been storytelling, and that's really the joke that I always say, that no one's on Facebook to look at ads. If we film on a mobile phone, the content, versus filming on a 4K camera, the videos seem to perform way better. Something that people don't realize is that the difference between a good video and a great video is like 5%.
So there's three systems that we need in our life. We think that we need business systems, but it all starts with our personal system. You have to have a system for eating properly, sleeping properly. That's your personal system. What are your advice for those people who are early in their careers? What are some things that really helped you, that, when I started doing this, that helped me, that kind of stuff? Like, what would you be some of the greatest learning that you had that can help some of these people?
Hey guys, I recently had the opportunity to sit down with David Clune, the founder of Culture Shock Marketing, and we had a real opportunity to have a free-flowing conversation. We went deep into what actually makes marketing work today, why the difference between a good video and great video is just about 5%, but that 5% changes everything. We talk about creative first strategy, how mobile short content is now outperforming 4K productions, and how AI tools like Claude are reshaping how the founders operate. It was our first time meeting, and what unfolded was a real unfiltered conversation about storytelling, systems, operations, and building businesses that gives you freedom. If you're building something, especially in marketing or operations, there are serious insights in this one. Sit back and enjoy.
This is our first meeting, so I guess what makes sense is to, get to know who David is a little bit. So why don't you just introduce yourself? We want to hear from your own words, who you are, and then we'll hear a little bit about the business in a minute.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm David Clune, and what I'm most passionate about is finding new and innovative ways to engage audiences online. And I do this through video content, meta ads, and really deep brand building strategies. Simple as that.
Yeah. That is
How about
awesome.
yourself?
Yeah, so for me, my story, look, I'm a crazy passionate entrepreneur from a very young age. That's all I know, Business is all I know since I was a little kid, grade 5, never stopped since. Cloned eBay in my school days, had a bit of a feud with PayPal, built my own platform at some point, got into coding, and then built OLAB over time, So, and then OLAB has been around for 10 years. We went through different journeys and things like this. So we'll talk about it a little bit more bit by bit. So one thing I'm interested to know about is, the origin story of Culture Shock. So take me back, like what led you to marketing? What made you sort of start the business that you made today?
Yeah, of course. So, I started my career in film and TV as an assistant producer.
Yeah.
And I was working in the documentary space at the time, but I was really excited for the type of work I was doing because they were making what they called at the time multi-platform productions. This was 15 years ago. So they'd make a film, they'd make YouTube videos, they'd make an iPhone game, they'd make an interactive ebook, all under one story world.
Yeah.
And I found that was so exciting at the time. Facebook and YouTube were still relatively new. And as the assistant producer, they just threw all the digital stuff at me and said, hey, can you just figure out how to make a website and sell tickets to our film? And so I just started using Facebook ads in the very early days. There was no video on Facebook ads then. You had to put on YouTube and chuck it in. So got into that and then realized that this is so exciting. And so for the next 5 years, I was constantly doing jobs as an assistant or as a producer, and then of course doing meta ads of some sort, or Facebook at the time, and then Instagram. But it was a joke, right? Everyone would laugh at you. Oh, you do social media? That's a joke. That's not a job. What are you talking about? And then eventually I found myself working for the SBS TV network, being the social media manager there. And did that for a year, and then bounced into a job that really changed my whole perspective of all the skills that I built. And it was for New South Wales National Parks.
Yeah, yeah.
And they needed a video. They needed to run a campaign to engage young adults, 18 to 35-year-olds, to go back into nature. And they had this big budget, and they'd started spending it on really stupid billboards. And I came in and said, we're not doing any more of that. We're going all in on social media. And we started a video marketing strategy that created the perfect content flywheel, feedback loop.
Yeah.
And executed it over 2 years, and it increased visitation by 1 million in that 2 years.
Wow.
And it was that moment that I was like, what?
This is what I
I finally understand what it's all been building towards.
Yeah.
And myself and my wife, we both said she's a psychologist and she wasn't enjoying the university clinical trials. And I was sick of working in these big companies where I just wanted to do creative stuff. So we both said, let's start culture shock marketing together. And so that's where it all began.
Right. So that was a pivotal moment, like the New South Wales engagement. That would have been like a big turning point for you guys, yeah?
It was huge because I finally, all the video content, all the testing, all the creative that I always knew, follow the test and measure approach and then feed back into the next production round. I knew that formula worked, but I finally had a budget to do that fully.
For a significant
I've done it
amount
in
of time.
small cases, but I could do it over a long time and for one brand over 2 years.
Yeah.
And it really let me test a lot of different theories and in many ways it validated everything I knew would work, but I had somewhere to prove that it worked. So that was the big turning point for me.
And government, when you work with government, I also have a little bit of experience here. When you work with bigger budget, this is really cool because now all of a sudden you have that knowledge that's like an asset that you can bring out to anybody. You can just go out, which is, I guess, you have. Like you can really say, hey, even if you don't have that government budget, I have that experience and know-how. I know what mistake you don't want to make. So that's a really cool story, that the way you sort of started. So no, that's very interesting actually. So what I'm interested to know, I guess a lot of people wouldn't know, like there's a misunderstanding around video marketing, meta ads and things like this. So, and also, I mean, I see that you're in a cross section of video and ads. People are one way or the other. Oftentimes when you're working with an operator, they might be just skilled at one thing. So this is a really good cross section. So what would you say, like the businesses that you work with often misunderstand in this space about videos, about like the digital marketing? What are some of the things, what are some misconceptions would you say are there from your experience?
I think firstly, the misconception is that social media or meta ads will just fix all your problems. It's not magic. It takes hard work and it doesn't happen instantly.
100%.
It takes a lot of really strategic thinking. Something that people don't realize is that the difference between a good video and a great video is like 5%. And that is, if the quality is increased from 95 to 100% and you close that gap, that video converts like 100 times more than just an average good video. So although the margin for what's good to great is tiny, the impact of getting that last 5% right so that video is outstanding is what saves you a fortune. And that's something I don't think people realize. And I've been saying this for years, that it's all in the creative. It's in the image, it's in the video. If you want to win on social, you gotta go be a creative first agency. The algorithm was always pushing it differently, and now the algorithm with the new algorithm that's coming with Meta is like, we are creative first. It is all about the creative. And finally, I feel like the algorithm's caught up to my strategy. But I've always said that because that's my strength. And others have different strengths. They're the strength of the numbers. But I always believe that if you can connect with your target audience, if you can engage them and create some sort of emotive content that they can relate to, then you're going to get far better results than any random ad.
So it sounds like a lot of people would not quite get what you're saying is that it's like running a race. Like being a first will take you way too much effort than being the second person. There's a little bit of gap. It's like little few seconds gap, but the effort and the preparation was huge. So I'm curious to know, like from your side, would you say that you focus more on the storytelling side or the quality of the video production side, or a bit of both? I mean, I'm not an expert on this, so I'm quite keen to know, what are some of the things that you work with that, gives you the edge when you're working with clients?
It's always been storytelling. And that's really the joke that I always say, that no one's on Facebook to look at ads.
We're there to ads. Just scroll, give me rest.
Tell them a story. Give them a story. So it's always been story driven, and it needs to be for that reason. You've got to add value and give your viewers something interesting to keep their attention. And although storytelling as a purpose hasn't changed, a lot of, as always in social media, the formats change, the style of storytelling changes. What works on social media is constantly changing. So what we're seeing, especially over the last 2-3 years, is that if we film on a mobile phone, the content versus filming on a 4K camera, the videos seem to perform way better just by making that change. Whereas previously we would always film on like really good cameras and 4K and it would be really crisp. But if it's too crisp now, people start going, oh, you know what, that's not right for me. So that's an interesting shift, and therefore because of that, we now have to shift the style of storytelling. Story is still part of it, but it's the method that we use is slightly different. And that's always changing. It'll be different at 6 months from now as well.
Yeah, last 3-4 years, a huge change. This actually gets me fired up about a question that is very close to my interest, my passion, and that is AI. So obviously we all use AI in some shape or form. I want to first ask you, like, has this changed your workflow like the last couple of years? Like, do you use AI tools? And if you do, like, I'm keen to know, like, are you just using the standard tools that we all use, or have you got some special tools that you're using? Like, what's your general thought? I just want to hear your general take. I ask about AI every founder I talk to. I'm like, tell me more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with AI, but constantly trying to learn and figure out what tools we can use to save time. I've also discovered, like many, that a lot of these AI products promise the world, but you just can't use them to ship to a client. They're just not good enough.
Yes. Same
But that
feeling.
all being said, sorry?
Similar feeling, yes.
And we know it will get there, but it's not there. And so I'm constantly toying between trying to not waste too much time testing all these tools, but also using them in really effective ways. And where I've landed in probably the last few months specifically, is I'm all in on Claude. And I'm joking to my wife saying, are you using ChatGPT? Because it's kind of like a glorified spell check right now. And she's like, yeah, I'm not using it for anything. Claude is the best.
Yes.
So we are all in on Claude for writing, for presentations, for using it for spreadsheets. And I've got my whole team now. We're about to join a school group to just learn Claude code as a team and just start really getting comfortable with Claude, because I've seen how incredible it is to plug into our Airtable, to plug into Notion, and even I've seen tutorials where you can plug it into video editing tools as well, like CapCut and whatnot. So that's where I'm at in terms of AI. What about yourself though? What AI tools are you interested in?
Oh man, I am crazy. I've been using AI consistently for a very, very long time. So I use a bit of everything. So yeah, Claude is probably one of the top ones. But personally, I'm into the ChatGPT ecosystem because of the way I use it, because I don't use that for coding and all that sort of stuff. So if I talk about right now, then I'm probably still using ChatGPT the most. But you're absolutely right. I don't see any innovation in ChatGPT for way long. But I just find their free version to be quite good. The speaking, like talking to it, not talking, but I'll give it a really long, like 10-minute prompt. And then when it returns back, I really like listening to that using that listen feature. So that feature, I'm not sure Claude is similar to that. But that said, I built a full software that runs my day in 3 months using Claude Code. So that was probably about a year ago. So pretty much everything that I do in my day is tracked. Like right after this call, I will just go in. This is an internal tool. I don't market it. It's free, but you can use it, but it's not marketed anywhere. So I just go in SnapTask and I say, I've done this, and it automatically looks at the last task and tracks how long it took. So I don't have to time track. So I made this tool for myself, and I can see how many things I've done and things like this. So I use that. That was built from Claude. I also had significant time with Claude where I basically turned it into, like, if you were Alex Hermes, if you were Warren Buffett, that kind of stuff, and just coach me. But right now I use ChatGPT the most for 2 or 3 things as a consultant. That's the biggest thing that I do. So I have a very systematic 1 hour rule in the morning. So I kick off 7 a.m. every morning. And then I start off by learning. This is one of the operational services I work with my clients, but I practice it. And then after I've done a bit of a learning, I would go on very specific project chats, and I will ask ChatGPT. So because it has got such a long data set, I had 6 years of journal that was in it, and I have got the context. So I still get reasonable results, but all my friends, all my mates, everyone I talk to, Claude is all the way, like, that's been the recommendation. So I'm thinking maybe I will switch my personal projects over there. So yeah, I use that. Other than that, I do a bit of coding for hobby because we don't offer coding all these services anymore. But I just took our site to anti-gravity, Google's anti-gravity, and using the Gemini Pro. So that's like a bit of a hobby project. And also for sometimes also video editing for me is also a hobby. It's not a service I provide seriously, but I have a hobby YouTube channel that's it's pretty rubbish. It's got a lot of mix mash of everything, but I would use CapCut's, the AI functionality. I would use the premium for that one. So that's kind of my world right now. But over the years, I used Claude significantly, Grok a little bit, a bit of everything. I also so another thing I built a number of projects using Bolt.new. Did you come across that? Bolt.
Yeah, I've come across that. Yeah.
Bolt's actually really good for outcome, like a really quick. If I wanted to make a site in minutes, Bolt, or there's another one, not Lovable. There's the other third one. I forgot the name now. But anyhow, so a bit of everything, experimental, but day to day, hands on. I would say ChatGPT. I use like 10 times a day. Like I'm just always talking. I'm like listening to podcasts in ChatGPT.
Yes.
I literally I don't make videos. I'll have ChatGPT say, hey, make me affirmation. Let's just say, I'll give you a use case, a specific use case. Let's just say I'm falling short on taking massive action in the evening or just going to sleep, right? So I have a affirmation chat, part of my personal development inside of ChatGPT. So I would say, create me a playlist using all my affirmation practices for as much as your context would allow, and for sleep. And it would just say, I'm Bappy, I'm somebody who don't compromise sleep. And he just keeps listening. So I'm listening to myself from ChatGPT, and within minutes I stop it. I'm like, I gotta take action right now, that kind of stuff. So I went on a bit of a rant there, but does that help?
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. I want to do more of that in my life, is just integrate it to streamline, the days, because I feel like it's there, but it's like, just need to, integrate it more to smooth it out, because it's all about just streamlining your day, right? Having a good day.
And I'm happy to, maybe not right today, maybe another day we can have a exploration about this. I am all about ops. I'll do it for free, because this is optimizing and systemizing, and time is everything. I've been tracking my time for years. I've got 6 years of journal data that I was able to put into ChatGPT, and it was so strange to hear an AI tool telling me things that I never thought about myself. And when it said, I'm like, holy shit, this is true. That was my problem, and I thought this was my problem, but no, this is my problem, that kind of stuff. On that note, I'm curious to know then, so since you're in marketing, quite hands-on at the moment, I'm more in the operations side. I think generally from your perspective, like you're also working with other businesses, what would you think is a good overlap? Like, what do you see personally as a good overlap between, say, strong operations and strong marketing? Like, any general thoughts on this?
I mean, with the context of AI, or just in general?
Just in general, operationalizing marketing is also operations. Like, I don't do marketing anymore, but I do sit as a CMO for a couple of companies, right?
Yeah.
Basically, I am creating the operations. When my clients needs an agency, for example, I would say, hey, go work with David, for example. But I'm still running the operations of the marketing department because I create departments now, right? Maybe in a minute, I can tell you a little bit about our journey so you know what we do.
Yeah, love.
So, do you face, maybe the question is more like, do you face operational challenges when you're dealing with marketing, that kind of stuff, or even in your business?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's always about changing, tweaking, and streamlining operations to work effectively. We're constantly battling speed. And how do we constantly update either our SOPs or our systems to deliver? I mean, marketing's so broad that, and marketing's always a battle between, getting things done and data and then the creativity and balancing those two so that they align. When it comes to, it also depends on the business. So some businesses need a more operational marketing department that require a lot of website updates, a lot of different sort of tactics that can be streamlined. And then other businesses need to be a lot bolder in their brand story and in the way in which they target their audience segments and really customize and tweak that. And so I'd say that they're absolutely both critical. I lean more towards that sort of creative marketing. How do we build brand and tell different micro stories and then run multiple campaigns that all feed up into one? And that's sort of where I get caught as well, because I get so creative into the ideas that I need people to bring me down to earth and be like, hey, but like this is taking too long. We need to streamline that. So it's a constant challenge.
It's interesting. It took me about 5 years to really crack the operational code, and I thought, oh, it was just a SOP problem. And these days, I don't even follow any SOPs. We don't have SOPs. We systemize things in such a way that you don't need SOPs. It just gets made on the fly. So maybe it's a good time to maybe share. Would you like me to share a little bit about my origin story or where OLAP stands?
Yeah, please, but I'd also, just before you dive into that, is that your tagline? Because that's the best thing. We don't need SOPs. It's like
it didn't work.
We made the ultimate system with no SOPs. Like that's such a unique catchphrase. You get instantly curious. Sorry, it's my creative brain going.
No, it's so good. It's so good.
I'm using a tagline like that.
Yeah. Well, I replaced SOP with cadences, which is one of my innovations, tools that I've built over the years. So literally, I put founders in systems that they follow. So they know the moment they get up from, it's the same desk, same chair, same pencil, same start, same system, and they start seeing value within one day. They're like, all right. So I'll actually tell you about a myth first, and then tell you a quick journey about what we did and what we do now. So one of the biggest innovation and learning from last year for myself, this is a personal experience. A lot of us in business, early stage business owners, we often think that we need to get a really good business, and then we'll come back and systemize my life. But that is actually not true. The thing that doesn't go away is when you eat, when you sleep, when you shower. That doesn't go away whether you have a business or not. Who's going to take kids to the school? Who's going to go to the groceries? Those are the first level of systems. So there's 3 systems that we need in our life. We think that we need business systems, but it all starts with our personal system. You have to have a system for eating properly, sleeping properly. That's your personal system. And then you need your household systems. And these are more important. You need a household system. How do you run things? How do you do your shopping? Who cooks? Who cleans? And you're not having drama about all those. Those are all really smaller but more important part of the business. I always thought this comes first. Once you got these covered, then your mind is free because you know exactly I've got 8 hours. Like I've been running business fully remote since COVID. And my team went up at its max, 12 people. AI shrunk it big time, but right now I'm running operations, one in New York, one in Sydney. Basically, we're still registered in Sydney, But I'm living,
Nice.
I'm living in Asia, right? I've moved here. That's a different story for another day. I've moved here to build a team of 100 people for the back end work. So that we'll
Where are you
talk.
living, Bappy? Whereabouts are you living, do you mind me asking?
I'm in Bangladesh, but not in the typical Dhaka capital. I am in the
Yeah.
holiday part of Bangladesh where most people don't come. It's like the mini Thailand of Bangladesh. So I'm in a tea capital called Sri
Got it.
Mangal, and there is no
What?
freelancers. There's not many Westerners here, things like this. But there are about 100 resorts here, like little resorts, And I go every weekend, take
No.
my missus. We go, holidaying, and I said we're gonna put head down, bum up, work, and build businesses. And another day's conversation, I have started my recruitment system that is a sustainable, self-sustaining recruitment system, HR. So I have an HR. You know
Nice.
that the most businesses HR equals cash burn, right? I have created an HR system that pays itself before the team members meet clients. So HR is
Nice.
profitable without clients. Now, when clients come in, then we're
Ah,
hugely profitable, right? So anyhow, those are another day's conversations. So that's a myth. So we actually have to systemize your life first, and then your mind is totally free to be creative and all that. We have always got this battle. Do you follow this?
Mate, I resonate with that so much. Yeah, we made similar mistakes when we started our business. Not mistakes. We,
Yeah.
we made a mistake, which is we started hiring people and bringing them into the office in Chippendale, and I just kept having to go into the office. And I'm like, I don't want to be in the office.
Yeah.
I don't want to come in right now. I don't want to be around anyone.
Yeah.
And so we quickly let everyone go remote, and then those that didn't want to stay moved on. And we said from that day forth, if we want to stick to our vision, which is a lifestyle business where we always can work remote and work anywhere in the world, we need to implement that now, not
Yeah.
in 5 years, not until now. And so that really made us rethink. And I'm so excited to hear that you've made it to Asia and you're living there and you're able to work in those time zones.
Yeah.
We've done that a few times, and we're going to do that again later in before the middle of the year, to go to Malaysia and do a similar thing.
That's so good.
As a few weeks, and just do that. Work stay in the resorts on the weekends, go to the co-working space during the week, and just mix it up. Just because ever since COVID, we just need to
I
get
think
out.
COVID was an eye opener. I think whoever was orchestrating COVID thought that it will actually make us stop. But right after COVID, it was like everyone was like, actually, I don't need to go to job anymore. So yeah, so
It was
that's
transformative
really
in
good.
that way.
Yeah, you can do it. By the way, you don't happen to be in fish burners by any chance, are you?
No, but I do live near the original fish burners.
The original one. That's what I was
The one
saying. Because I operated
back on
from fish.
Harris Street.
I started there and operated for 6 months from there before moving to Surrey Hills. That was a long
Really?
time. Yeah, the original fish burners on Ultimo. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, I walk past it all the time, but no, I haven't worked from fish burners before since I did go there back in the day.
yeah, it was a
Maybe I
long
saw
time
you
ago.
around.
Anyhow, there's a lot of hype around startups, but real business owners are not. They're invisible. They're working behind the scene. All right, quickly about OLAB, like you asked. So, very similar journey, but I think I've just morphed into it. So, I started off as a software company. So we were providing software development services to start with, and thankfully, I had some very, very good projects that I worked on. I had a CTO full time, and we had at its peak Sydney University as our client. We did some work for Zero accounting software, some big clients, etc. That was good. Those are enterprise money, very, very good. And then eventually the business sort of led into more of a typical agency where we were offering a bit of everything, marketing, probably similar to some of the things you're doing, maybe different, not so much video focused, but a lot of marketing, web design, all that kind of stuff. And then we morphed into, for a few years, maybe about 2 years, I went full-time consulting, where I was literally just sitting with the founders. Again, fantastic revenue. But the trouble was that I had to sit on calls like this, and I grown to resent it after 2 years. I'm like, I don't want to be there. So I put in an accounts manager and things like this. We operationalized a whole lot of stuff. Lots of transition happened, and then came 2026. In between, I had a bit of a gap where I had to focus on some personal stuff, got married, etc. you know. So that was fun. Yes. So now 2026, we just provide one service, and that is operations. Everything goes underneath of it. So there's either an entire operations of a company, because I've got the software background, I've got the marketing background, I understand how to run a business. I had a pretty large team, and I consulted businesses that are much larger than me, you know. So there are businesses that I set up operations for, running 20, 30, 40 million dollars in South Australia, in Sydney. And I've created the systems for them, just similar to your experience, right? So those are still internal in my head, and then I've created innovations. So now we just do either operations of an entire company for small businesses, and if it's a large business, then we run operations of a specific department. More specifically, sales operations, marketing operations, HR operations. These are the key operations. So essentially, you know, I work directly with the CEO. We talk to each other each week. I can't do it for too many businesses. I would say I'm pretty full, and I'm focusing on, you know, my recruitment empire. So don't take on too many clients. Like right now, I'm not taking on any clients or anything. But created myself a very good lifestyle, and very thankful for where we're at. But in the meantime, I love sharing. You know, if it helps, I would share. I have got like about a half a dozen of my business friends who are in some kind of a system with me. We're doing learning regularly every day, things like this. So that's kind of my journey. You know, how does that come across to you?
Yeah, look, I love that. And I think we all, as business owners, struggle with operations in different ways, from when you're growing to when you just, when you change over team members to all that. So I really resonate with that. It sounds really exciting. And I resonate with, as you're speaking, I'm like, you know what, my sales operation, it's like, it's the number one thing that, the number one challenge I've noticed I have as a creative is simplifying my business. Yes. I'm also a coach for young agency owners that are just like 2-3 years in, just to help them grow their business. And they're all doing, you know, very simple meta campaigns, like just with chiropractors, just with plumbers, whatever it might be. And my journey's been so complicated where I know so much that I can't simplify it down to.
I mean, man, simplifying, man. We'll have a couple of calls time to time, and you're all fixed. Trust me. This is actually not bad occasionally to just jump on out of the clients' meetings and actually meet a new face and hear about, you know, your journey and things like this. We can always share notes. Now, I would like to get into nuts and bolts of some of the services you're providing and things like this. So I think the important question will be to explore is, what are the revenue sizes that you are servicing ideally? Like for my business, generally 300K to 500K plus, $500,000 plus is my sweet spot. Those are the kind of operational stuff that I'm providing. It's not for big companies that has got like 50, you know, team members. It works best for people who are like, I want to be traveling. Like basically I'm giving people what I have done, you know, for myself. Like I went from corporate to fully free. Now 2 years on, I'm traveling for 2.5 years. This is pretty insane. Like I came out for 6 weeks, and that turned into 2.5 years, and here I am still traveling. And probably I would say I'm much happier and healthier physically than I was in Sydney or in Hobart. You know, that's where I lived. So anyhow, coming back to this. So do you know off the top of your head, like what are the business sizes that you're supporting other than the smaller businesses?
Yeah, they're generally, you know, 1 million to 5 million.
Okay, yeah.
Revenue agencies. So they need to be big enough
to support a creative budget.
To support a creative budget, to be ambitious. And, you know, we started out specializing in health and education as a niche. We've broadened that out now to small businesses. A lot of the health education team started building internal teams. And during COVID or post-COVID, they started stopping external spend. That started to come back again. But in that process, I just realized I like working with founders, similar to you. So, from the video side of things, not everyone comes to us just for video, but in the video side of things, if there's a founder that either runs a business or they're a fast-growth startup that are like 4 or 5 years old, we can work with them and build a lot of content around their personal brand, and then build out the strategy so that their brand and their personal brands grow together. And that's what really excites me.
Cool. So I guess I'm interested to know. So let's just say 2 million plus. Are we saying? Is that what you're saying?
They're about a million plus. They need to have
Million
enough
plus.
revenue to be spending, and they either spend external on external marketing, or they have a internal team, and then I just offer to train their team.
Yeah, yeah. So do you have to often go in person for shooting and that kind of stuff, or you get that done by their team or external?
I do it either via external or we do it remote.
So basically, you have no limitations to support a client over in, say, New York or in Amsterdam. It doesn't matter. Your strategy works.
We work with people in New York. We've done shoots in Austin. I mean, I'm in Sydney. Next week we're doing a shoot in Brisbane. I'm not going there. It works well.
So generally speaking, would you spend more resources and energy on the creative video production side, or more on the actual meta marketing side?
I was talking about this with someone yesterday. It depends on the season. It's really weird. Like the last 3-6 months, we're doing so many social media strategy, go-to-market strategy, personal branding strategy. And then at the same time, there's other jobs, meta ads and video happening, but the bulk is strategy. And then what I'm seeing now we're shifting to video production, and it's going to be lots and lots of video shoots. And then it moves to lots and lots of meta ad campaigns.
It sounds like it goes in cycles, right?
There's always one that's dominating. They're all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
But I always look and go, oh wow, we're doing so many video shoots this month. And that's kind of what keeps it exciting as well.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, this is good actually. This is good because I used to do marketing in the past, but I just don't get into that. And you know what inspired me to narrow down niche and just be able to say, hey, I do one thing, one word, operations, And I had a team member, he came in, worked as a designer for me from Bangladesh years ago. I had a bulk of my team in Philippines, I went through the agency journey, like a lot of people in Middle East, India. I had my CTO from India. I had a large team where there was 3 huddles running every single day. That's how. So that was like three times a day. Like there was huddles every single day, plus client meetings, etc. But one of my team members, he grew a team of about 50 people in Dhaka. It's a software company, and he's working with subcontractors of Pentagon. So he doesn't have any clients here in Bangladesh. He's just offering software services. So when I came to Dhaka this trip around, he said, hey, he looks at me as a mentor because he started his career journey with me. That was my early days in operation. He was doing design, but there was design operations in place, and he followed the system. He says, still to this day, I run my business following these things. So he invited me, and we did a podcast. But outside of the podcast, he said, one thing that I keep doing, I narrow down, I niche down. The more I give up, the more clients I get. I'm like, shit, why didn't I do this? I've obviously taught him enough, and he's a great guy on his own as well. Like now I can take advice from him, and that's what I love. We build a relationship. Now he can tell me things that are my blind sides. So I kept thinking about this for 2 years, and then I thought, on my side there was all these services. I'm scrapping all of them. 2026, we just do operations. That's all we do, and we're gonna focus. We're gonna niche down. Even if clients come in do other things, I can. I've got a couple of friends who are in your industry, so I can pick up the phone and say, hey, can you help? But I stay focused on, and I've figured out it is 1/10 the effort for me to deliver. So I can literally manage operations of 2 businesses in part-time capacity. So at the moment, my day goes 50% on innovation on the new revenue source, which I'm building this whole platform, like 100 people recruitment engine, things like this. And only this 50% of my time is to run the business. That has been really phenomenal. So on this note, I want to ask you also, I guess if I were to bring in a client to you, let's say if you were working on a marketing engine from scratch today, or let's say I've got one of my clients or someone I work with, they need the marketing engine structured. Where would you start? What are a few things that you would audit or recommend to, like, as a starting point? What are 2 or 3 things that you would say, hey, we need to look at these sort of things if I were to bring in one of my clients to you?
Yeah. Where I always start is with whatever they've done to date, all their branding documents, which are usually out of date, and then whatever they've published. So from website to to marketing collateral, to any video content or image content on any of their channels, from LinkedIn to TikTok to Instagram to Facebook, and just take all the data that I can and just really look at what is working first and foremost.
Yes.
Because it's not about necessarily reinventing the wheel. They've probably figured out some things that have worked.
Yeah.
They probably know somewhat some things that have worked, but they don't know what the next steps are to amplify that and to do more of that.
Yeah.
And from there, we usually just start with a strategy of like, what is the current problems and where do they want to go next? But really at the core of everything we do, it's always coming down to who is their target audience.
It's really being clear about it.
To flesh that out. It is so important because every piece of content we make with them needs to align to their target audience. And once we know their general target audience, segmenting them into 4 or 6 different groups, and then creating content specifically to hit those pain points and connect with each and every one of those target audiences. So we can't progress until we know that. And that usually requires firstly an audit, then a strategy to get really clear, and using data along the way to validate that. And then from there, it's about creating the first initial content, whether it be print, whether it be email campaign, whatever it might be, and starting to test and measure what's working and what isn't, and then continuously improve.
Yeah.
That's our.
So it sounds like you're pretty open. So if it was a matter of the clients, let's just say, working on a different platform, you would still go ahead and you will be able to help out, right? Like not just Meta Limited. So
we're platform agnostic. The problem is we can do so much. We don't talk about everything we can do, but we could work on, Snapchat. We've done some campaigns, using the ads on like Grindr and Tinder before. Like it's not a problem. We've played around with Reddit ads. There's nothing stopping us from doing any of those platforms. It's just at the end of the day, most people just want Meta.
I think, the discipline is there, so you would be able to advise and direct and, So now this is cool. I think from my side, I've asked whole questions and it feels like I've learned a lot as well. So I'll ask you a couple more to wrap this part up and then maybe you can ask me some more if you want. So I'm interested to know, so tell me, if you, there's obviously, you've been in this industry for a long time, you've experienced some government contracts, so that you've had major exposure and things like this. So if some 20-year-old came to you, let's just say, 15, 20, in their early teens, 20, and they're sort of figuring life out, figuring business out, I want to do agency, I want to do online work, I want to do remote work and all that kind of stuff. I'm in the process of hiring, like I said, in next 2 years, I want to employ 100 people, So there's all these people who are like, hey, I want to work with a client over in, US, I want to work with, I have some clients in Australia and all that sort of stuff. What are your advice for those people who are early in their careers? What are some things that really helped you that, when I started doing this, that helped me, that kind of stuff? What would you be some of the greatest learning that you had that can help some of these people?
So firstly, number one is attitude. You've just got to have a can do, I'm going to figure it out attitude and take every opportunity that is presented. Even if it's not 100% fully aligned with what you want, if someone's offering you something, don't be picky. Just go, I'll give that a shot. I'll help you out because you never know where it's going to lead you. The second thing that I accidentally did, and I think we don't talk about it enough, is I used my youth at the time as my strength because I didn't know what the experts knew. I didn't have any experience, but I had youth. So therefore, I would say, oh, you don't understand in this context. You could say, you don't understand AI? Don't worry. I got you. I'll work it out. And then just go all in on the tools that they don't have time to learn. They don't have maybe even an interest to learn, but they know they need it to apply to their business. So use the things that they are too busy to learn or to upskill in, learn those skills, and then say, I can do that for you, hire me. That's my guidance that I'd start with.
That's amazing. Those are good advice. I think attitude makes a lot of sense. I when I interview, a lot of times, especially a lot of fresh people applies, and I often say to them, hey, they often say, hey, what job am I applying for? I'm like, tick all. Because a lot of this digital work, you can literally do all of them. If I was a fresher, I'd say I need a job. I don't wait for 3 years to find out my perfect video editing job or just a marketing role. well, if you have a role, give it to me because I'm free sitting there doing nothing. So attitude is where it starts. And skills, I guess you can train them, right? Train anybody. We learn on work. So I love that. Thanks for that. It's so awesome. All right, last question from my side. I mean, you've already shared a few of the things that you're passionate about, but tell me, what are you most excited about in life, in business? What lights you up? What are some of the things that gets you going? What do you love? Like, what gives you drive, energy, positivity? Like, I'm just interested to know what drives David.
So I've been thinking about this a lot recently as well. Firstly, in terms of like work and life, I really am energized by AI and what it can do. And at the same time, I've been getting into coaching because I realized that after working for 10 years with clients all the time, the way we work with them is we hold their hand through the whole journey anyway. So I realized I was just coaching them and I really enjoyed that. What I'm so excited about as the technology increases in its capabilities, and I'm obsessed with storytelling and video and content and audio, is creating personalized stories to help people see the vision and feel the vision and stay motivated on their goals and on their dreams. And use that as a way to keep their goals and their vision alive so that they can see it and feel it manifested through an AI video, through a reflective audio about a conversation that we might have had, so that it really instills and helps it sort of manifest in their brain so they realize and believe that it's possible so they get to their dreams faster. And that is something that I'm really excited about because it doesn't quite exist yet, but I know it's coming and I'm building towards creating that type of creativity. That's where I'm really like pumped at the moment.
That's awesome. Sounds like you are enthused by the personal transformation that happens when people get to their business goals, and you're using AI as a tool, you're using that consulting muscle as a tool, but ultimately it is that personal transformation that people get from, hey, I've got my business part working my, that is really good. And also you shared that you are working with some of the youth who are early stage entrepreneurs, you're consulting or coaching them. Do you want to share just a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, so I do a number of coaching from business and executive coaching. And then this year I launched my group coaching, which has some of the younger agency owners. And the plan is to open up that group coaching to business owners and then to executives and just have 3 tiers to it. But I had done a lot of meta ads coaching for creative testing in another group. And that group ended up closing down, so they all came into mine. And look, what I'm really enjoying about it is the personal aspect of it. And I think I am really excited about launching even further because, like everything in my business, I'm always referral based. It's all hidden behind, which is that it is always just the way I've done it. And what I'm really excited about is, and what I believe in, is that if you as a person work on yourself, your business will thrive.
Oh, yeah, that's what my business is built on, personal development. I am built on personal development.
And you're living proof.
Yeah. I love it, man. Like you ask my my other half, and she'd tell me, Bappy wakes up. Sometimes I wake up in the morning before I wake up with my eyes. I'm doing push-ups. This is my mantra. I get up as soon as my feet hits the ground. I'm doing push-ups. I get myself going, and the first 1 to 2 hours personal development, then the business. So I love that. I think this is a synergy point, David. Like we've really connected on a point that maybe you haven't quite used the same words, but I think we're speaking the same language here. We both
100%.
are motivated by personal transformation. That is wonderful. It's so wonderful. Man, I feel like I want to know more. Now, on that note, I just realized I've taken a big part of your hour, and you might have to run soon. But here's the thing. I'll tell you something. From my consulting days, I have got about nearly 5,000 recorded videos. A lot of them with clients and similar to this. So no promises that I will be editing it, but I loved our conversation. I'll see if I can get one of the editors to do a bit of editing and then give you something that you can share, because I think there's a lot that I've learned and other people can learn from as well. But outside of that, we should also probably talk business, whether it's today or another day, it doesn't matter. But tell me, do you have any other questions maybe you want to know or ask me? Or
Yeah. So first of all, and I've got about 7, 8 more minutes.
Yeah, sure.
What
Let's
I'd
go
love to
through
know
this.
is, like, how did you, at what point right now in the last 2 years since you've left, did you reflect and go, oh, like, here I am, I did it. And what was that moment like? Like when you realized that, I'm sure you had this vision for a very long time, but it sort of came true.
Yeah.
When was the moment that you realized that you're actually living the vision that you had probably manifested for a very long time?
Very long time, yeah. So this is a 4-year journey, not just 2 years. Probably December, one of the days when my brother has arrived from Australia. So my brother's still he was living in my house actually in Hobart, and he actually came. So we got married here in this like a destination wedding thing and things like this. So I had went through some. So I've got to take you in a personal journey. So I went through some personal journey. Then I was single for like 10 years. I'm like, relationships for me. I got married to work, man. I just worked all day. And one thing led to another. At some point, I said, no, I think I should probably give relationship another try. Let's go travel the world. The first country in the list was Bangladesh because, I was born here, I was born here and then obviously moved and studied and things like this, right? So one thing led to another. And then that journey was very difficult because in these 2 years, I had to sacrifice a big part of my work. I can't be married to work anymore. That was the thing. So 2 years, very difficult. But then when we did the wedding thing, it was wonderful. It just came exactly like how we envisioned, and literally me and my partner, we both decided how it was going to be done, not like our family or anything. So that was good. And then when my brother came and we sat down, we were sort of having a chat, and maybe around that time, like after the wedding, we're both like with my partner, having a chat with my brother. I think around that time somewhere, I sort of realized, yeah, I think this is what I wanted. Like I wanted this freedom, and the decisions were right. Like there was a lot of ups and downs and challenges to deal with, but along the way, business was not my problem. I had plenty of revenue. Like I have a reason to believe I can hire 100 people. So that was not a problem. But personal life, getting organized and being aligned with the business, I started feeling like, yeah, I'm glad I made this decision because I was worried coming from Australia that, I'm used to certain kind of lifestyle, certain kind of environment, all that sort of stuff. But then I started to realize actually what was truly valuable, like to really be happy in life. I don't think you need a huge amount of people, a lot of partying, like Darling Harbour scene or any of that. You really need a few people that you value, you live life with, and you do things that you love. I get up every morning to work for another 10 hours. I don't have to work for 10 hours, but I'm so passionate to build the things that I'm building. And I have built 2 different software tools. I have run a pilot of 5 people. So what I'm doing right now, I've already piloted with 5 people for a year.
Nice.
So it worked, it was successful. So from price point, I'm working with people. So there is Australia. So I've hired Australian teams. And then there is Filipino team members. There is Bangladeshi Dhaka team member, India team member. And then there's Bangladeshi rural. So I have located myself here. And I hire along the value chain. So I've got somebody working from New York and I've got somebody. So I realized what I'm doing, I'm in the business of transforming people. So I'm business of taking this person here who doesn't know how to connect with this person. They don't even know how to connect with this person, let alone this one. I'm creating a system. So I've got an office now I've hired here. So yeah, long answer, but I think the crux of it is probably in December last year, I started feeling like, yes, I am. Around December, I think I feel like this is what I wanted, Does that answer your question?
It does. And I guess the follow-up to that is, what are you most excited about this year?
This year, yes, very, very excited about this recruitment part of the business. So
Nice.
my HR department, I had an HR lead, and she worked with me for several years, and I was really disappointed. There was a point here in this country, there were some political issues, and the internet was turned off for 2 weeks. I lost clients, I lost team members. And during that time, I had to let go some really key team members I built over the many years. So that was very sad and difficult because they're part of my identity. They became part of business family,
Yeah.
So it was very, very difficult. But in hindsight, it was good because I realized with AI, we can do things differently, So I'm very excited about the prospect of this. So I ran a test job ad campaign. It was a test one, not a free, And just tell you some numbers. So 48 people applied, 48 people applied, and 35 of them did paid registration. So the plan is, so normally when you hire people, you don't get them to pay. I'm working with people who doesn't have money. Bear this in mind. This is Bangladesh. However, the transformation promise is very powerful. So what I'm doing is I'm taking people through 4 stages. And after the 4th stage, if somebody has finished the 4th stage, they spend 1,000 hours of professional learning. It's like a 2-year MBA course shortened in 3 months or 4 months. The reason I do this is because I've done this several times and piloted it many times. So my HR department goal said transform the life of 1,000 people in a meaningful way, and give them jobs. So my vision is if I can do 100 people, if I can give them, even if it's 10 people, 10 new people who I took from nothing to like earning a significant salary and have a great life, these people are some people that I'll be working with. Now, the pilot that I ran, already there's every one of the single person that went through that pilot in a year, they're all in great jobs and working with me in some capacity. So I am super passionate about getting to 1 to 100 next 2 years and great jobs. So we have training program that pays for itself. The HR is paid for. And then when people come out of the training program, I plug them into all the businesses I'm running operations with. Does that make sense?
Love it.
So, and I'm like, it's great. If I showed you the mechanism and the system and the tools that I built, I work with, you're going to be like, it's so good, so good.
Yeah. We're going to have to book in another session for that because I'd love to see it all.
Yeah.
I've got to go in a few minutes, but the other question I just wanted to really ask you is, what is the biggest challenge that you face at the moment?
Right now? Yeah. So biggest challenge right now, it has some relationship to what you're doing. Creating content, video content specifically.
Story of everyone's life.
Video content specifically. And the thing is, it's not even creating the content, it's about shooting. Because I've got team around me who can edit and all that sort of stuff, right? So that is not a problem. Obviously, I've got advisors like yourself, for example. I can reach out and pick a call, Dave, I need to do something premium. Can you jump on? I think we can do this together. But right now, each of these people that registered for this HR thing, so they finished step 1, right? There's 4 of the steps. Step 1 equals 25% of the whole journey. So step 1 required me 10 to 15 minutes on average on the phone, right? And there are 10 million of these people who want to register. So that is the business model, right? 10 million of these people. But I cannot do this on the phone. Or even if I put a salesperson on board, it's a 15 minutes call. It's still profitable, but it's way better if I shared 3 videos.
Yeah, of course.
Right? 3 5-minute videos. So, and then the whole thing could be systemized with AI. So what's my biggest challenge? Biggest challenge is balancing time enough so that I'm shooting every day. I just gotta shoot every day. That's it.
Yeah.
Man, I've got the best gear, tools, everything. I had a full studio set up. I just have to make the time to shoot every day. But it's a challenge between. I love the operational stuff. I don't enjoy shooting. I do it because I have to, not because I want to. So anyhow, that's the biggest challenge.
I believe I love video, but I also don't enjoy shooting. I love all the prep. I love doing it, and I love the post-production. But then when I actually have to get in and make time to do it, it's a bother. But I think it's one of those things where you gotta find the time where you're most or least resistant to it.
Yeah.
So if you do your personal development and start that first hour of the day, if that's the thing, or if it's straight after lunch, whatever it is, it's like a gym workout. It's like once you make it a habit, you'll be good.
Yeah. So on that note, before we wrap up, I want to ask you the same question actually, Dave. What is the biggest challenge in your world, personal or professional? What is the biggest challenge that if it could go away, that you're accelerated, floats all the boat? What are some of your challenges?
I think it's constantly in streamlining and delegating.
Mm-hmm. Man, you're talking to the streamlining man. So it's interesting. Well, all right. Well, I don't want to let you go without any value. So here is the thing. We're connected on WhatsApp. We've already had a meaningful conversation. Just ask me whatever the hell you like. Anytime. That's okay. I am pretty quick on voice messages, so I'm available that way. That's one thing we can do immediately. Next question I want to ask you. This is something not we're going to talk today, but do you go to the gym by any chance?
I do.
What's your gym membership cost?
It's the cost. I think it's like $20. $21 a week.
20 a week, so about $80 a month. Okay.
Like it's anytime fitness, so it's super basic.
Man, I've been to Anytime. I've been to quite a few of those, like the big ones and things like this. The best gym is right here. The one closest to my arm. Like right after this call, I'll be doing some numbers. All right.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
Oh man, this is good. This is good. We're speaking the same language. All right, we'll have another conversation for sure. Now, here's another thing. Do you go to the any mental gym that you have to pay for right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Psychologist.
So you're going to psycho. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Very, very few people do that. Very, very few
I'm a
people do
huge
that.
believer that we should all be in psychology for life as a way to just maintain good health.
Or a coach, either or. Mate, I don't want to talk any further, but I have some great ideas. I want to share it with you, maybe occasional voice messages. Let me go back, process this part of our conversation, and let's circle back. I'm happy to touch base again, maybe in a month's time or whatever, see where you're at. And in the meantime, if there's anyhow I could be of value to you, let me know. Now I know about your business. I might ask you some more questions, but I think I can, if I see Windows or whoever wants to or needs to work with you, whether me or someone else, I'm there for you as well. So we'll do this again, yeah?
And look, Bappy, there's one thing that keeps coming up on my mind today, because I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I want to just sound out if that is something you might be able to help with as a service, which is, as I said to you earlier, my biggest challenge is just simplifying my products and simplifying my sales process. So that's something that I might be able to engage you with. I'd like to explore that and what that would look like, etc. Because as I've sort of highlighted, I'm super everywhere, and I know the products I need, but I love to keep it overly creative and overly complicated, and I just need to simplify it down to basic boring stuff, so that I can have that run the agency and move more into my coaching business and building that up. And that's where I'm at the moment. So if that's something that might align, let's talk about that next time as well.
All right, if you want to do that, in that case, let's shorten our catch-up time. Let's catch up next week, same time. I don't know whether or not we can do anything long-term as such, given that I'm quite full, but one thing I can do for sure is at least we can have one other catch-up and we figure it out, see what is good. I'm happy to do that. I think even if some directions I share and you take away and then implement, or I think there could be a good partnership there. And I've got things to learn from you too, so that'll be good.
Likewise, if there's anything that you want to, if you want to jump on a call and just do content in real time and have someone yelling at you, being like, record.
Love it, yes.
Whatever needs to happen to make it happen, but sometimes that's all someone needs. It's really weird. But
absolutely.
True.
So much I can share about this. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Now, man, appreciate your time, everything, and look forward to our next catch up then. Yeah, next week.
Sounds great.
Awesome,
Speak to you 13th. Have a good one,
see you
mate.
then. Take care. Bye now.
That was my conversation with David. For me, there were so many powerful takeaways, especially around creative storytelling, AI integration, and how small percentage of improvement creates exponential results. I would genuinely love to know what stood out for you. Who would you like me to sit down with next? And what questions should I ask them? Drop them in the comment below. This might be a beginning of something bigger. More founder conversations, more real insights, less surface level noise. Appreciate you being here. I will see you in the next one.